What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing an update to Branded Illusion. That's right, so it involves the brand new art type of the illusions, which does give the deck another angle to approach. So, with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. If you want to see more from the branded content, then make sure you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, and I will bring you more updates. With all of that out of the way, we're just going to dive head first into the profile and show you everything we've got and explain why we've got it. So of course we're going to start off with triple Fallen of Albaz. So this one is obviously a very nice board breaker, but it is also an important core card in the deck because 90% of your fusions are all going to be going through Albaz. Obviously everything else will go through the illusions, and that is the remaining 10%. We're also playing 2 Aluba. Now obviously the only issue you've got with this is the deck is going to fight for its normal summon. And what I mean by that is you've got Aluba for your branded normal summon, and then you've got the Mirror Sword Knight as your illusion normal summon. Now that's the ideal way of going into it. Yes, you can go through your illusions through branded fusion anyway, because they are a beast, so that can get you into Rimbrum. And you've also got lights as well and darks for your Lubellion and of course your Albion plays as well. We've also got 2 Blazing Cartesia, followed up by the 1 Quem. I still really like the use of having 2 Cartesia, because there will be a time where maybe your branded fusion does get stopped, and there'll be a time where you open up 1 Cartesia with still an Albaz or a way to get her to the board. I've had it against me a couple of times as well, and I've actually had it for me a couple of times, where playing 2, just for that odd chance of being able to open it up, does really help you. I'm still on the 1 Albion Dragon, the 1 Macoria, and the 1 Tragedy alongside the 1 Ad Libitum. You can completely cut the Ad Libitum if you want to. I've also seen people cut the Albion Dragon. I just like that ability of that draw, especially the Foolish Burial of the Retribution, to give you recursion from the graveyard during the next turn. And it just really can help you out. Sometimes even summoning it down as a beat stick can be the difference between game and having to wait another turn, which your opponent might be able to come back into it. The last Dogmatica or branded element monster I play is the 1 Fleur Delis. Now you can very easily play Maximus. The reason I'm not playing Maximus is it can get a little bit risky. You will have plenty of cards to put into the graveyard off of the back of the Maximus, especially off of the back of a Nadir Servant. But the reason I go with the Fleur Delis is because even if you search this off of branded Nadir Servant, and if you search off a Nadir Servant, you are locked out of the extra deck. However, you can still summon down Fleur Delis even if you're not locked, without locking yourself out of the extra deck. So what I mean is if you hard open the Fleur Delis, you can still special summon it down and it doesn't lock you out of the extra deck. It can become a nice little boss monster, but what you're mainly going to use it for is the fact that it's a level 8 light spellcaster, so we are still playing duality. I still really rate this card. I like the draw ability. I like the fact that it's a quick effect. I like the ability that it allows me to dodge targeted effects, which there are a lot of those running around right now. So I do think it helps out massively. And like I said, the reason I've gone with Fleur Delis rather than a Maximus is because it can get a little bit risky with a Maximus. There might be people that have cards in their extra deck. They're like, yeah, cool. I don't mind that being sent to the graveyard. You're actually going to help me. Now, obviously, that's going to be a rare occurrence. That's if your local environment is like branded mirrors. Then you're probably going to be facing that a little bit more. It still can be useful. Because there are decks as well that have got a couple of core cards in the extra deck that they don't want to be losing. But the fact that Maximus kind of controls what gets sent, or your opponent controls what they send, I don't think it's as safe as playing something like Fleur Delis. Plus, this can be a nice little special summon defender. I just feel it has a bit more utility than Maximus as an all-round out option. Moving on to illusion cards, we are playing triple Kotal alongside double Mirror Sword Knight. Now you can play the Mirror Sword Knight at free if you want to, but then the same argument can be made for Aluba. So what I mean by that is you've got technically 5 ways to get to your Mirror Knight. So you've got 3 Kotal, and then of course you've got the 2 Mirror Knight. And then for your Aluba, you've technically got 5 ways to it, 6 if you include Tragedy. So you're trying to make sure you get the balance of everything you need without going too overboard on one side or the other. I am playing a smaller version of the engine, which is of course why I've got the 1 Sword Knight. I'm also playing the 1 Gazelle and the 1 Big Winged alongside the 1 Chimera Fusion. Now there are builds where you can play 2 and 2 and 2 if you want to. I'm just trying to kind of keep it at a minimum. There's no real direct reason for that. It all comes down to personal preference. I feel the minimalized engine works just well for me. Some people might find they want the bigger engine. Absolutely fine. You can definitely do that if you want to. I just advise that anyone's getting this engine, that you always pretty much get all of these at free. Like, these are your cheaper components right now. The most expensive component is the Ultra Rare, which is your Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts. So getting this at least one is the big difference as to whether or not you want to play 2 lots of this engine or just 1. The only hand trap that I play is Ash Blossom. This can very easily be Imperb if you want to. It could be Nibiru's. You can go for the Triple Tactics Talents into Frost or Frost into Talents option. This is a little bit of a flex space, and it entirely comes down to personal preference and local environment. We've then got Triple Branded Fusion. So Mac Daddy Boss Monster, let's rock and roll. Best card of the deck. Alongside Triple Branded Opening. Triple Duality, again, this is personal preference. If you don't want to play it, if you don't like playing it, by all means take it out completely. This is your flex spot of, okay, I want to double up the Chimera engine, I want to max out on my branded engine, or I want to play more control cards. The other card that I do main deck is Super Poly. Now this is instead of playing the Triple Tactics Frost route, because obviously if you play the Triple Tactics Frost route, then you're obviously going to be playing a little bit more of maybe main decking a Dark Ruler, definitely main decking a Triple Tactics, and also main decking that trap card of Fusion Duplication, just because that gives you a way to play through Ash and everything else that you might need to. I kind of went with the Super Poly just so I have a nice board breaker, because I don't always want to rely on my opponent either putting a monster on the board or them activating a monster effect and then I have to Frost it. So it's quite nice to have a Super Poly because a lot of people actually forget about this card and very few people expect it in the main deck. So there are ways that you can very easily break the board, and that'll be the last 4 spots of your extra deck. So I'm just going to show you right now. For the extra deck, the last 4 spots, or the last 2 spots, is adaptive depending on your local environment. So these are your ideal Super Poly targets. So Garura, Dragon Knight, this is mainly for the Manadium kind of matchups because they always end on a Dragon Synchro and a Warrior in Baron and the Crimson Dragon. And then you've got your generics in your Mud Dragon and Garura, and then you've got your most consistent one in Dracus Tepelia. So you would choose 2 of these and put them in. Now, obviously, if you're undefined or undecided on what your local environment is like, you're best on having these and then side decking out these. But it really comes down to personal preference, like I said. If your local environment does not lose to Super Poly, then you take it out completely. 2 Nadir Servant can very easily be free if you want to, but I think 2 is more than enough. 2 Fusion Deployment, 1 Branded in Red, 1 Branded Lost, and the 1 Retribution. Now the one change that I have made in this is I'm no longer playing the Bestials in the main deck. I'm highly considering putting them back in. I kind of want to put in 1 Lubellion and then maybe a Magnemute and a Druid Swarm rather than the Saronir because I'm not utilising that Foolish Burial aspect of it. I'm definitely not utilising Kit in the deck either, but I feel you get more out of Kit when you're sending it through something like a Maximus than you do in this particular build. So again, it comes down to personal preference. Some playstyles will go a little bit differently. My one has kind of worked out as I see fit with this kind of build, and it's worked out quite nicely for me so far. But this deck is always changing, always being adapted, so it never stays still for one moment. Onto the extra deck, of course, we are playing the double Mirror Jade, followed up by 2 Albion, the 1 Sanctifier, the 1 Lubellion, 1 Rimbrum, Dust Dragon, Luluwalith, and then we move on to our Chimeras. So onto our Chimeras, we're playing the Chimera, the Illusion Beast. So this is just your boss monster for the Chimerian or the Illusion Engine. 1 Chimera King, 1 Guardian Chimera, and then 1 Dragoon. And then, like I said, the final 2 spots will be dependent on your local environments. You're either going to go with a range of 2 of these cards, depending on what you want to adapt to, and depending if you're playing Super Poly. If you're not playing Super Poly, you can open up the options for either main decking something like a Titaniclad. You've also got you've got a Despian Quinteris if you wanted to play that one. You've also got the option of a second Dust Dragon. If Dragon Links are running all over the place, and an Abyss Dragon, you've got so many different options, which is really, really nice for this deck. So it really does come down to, you know, making it your own. Use this as a starting block and be like, right, cool, I really do enjoy the Illusionists. I kind of want to play them. Where do I start? Well, this is one of your options. My local environment doesn't lose to Super Poly, or they don't fear Super Poly. Cool. You get more adaptability in the extra deck. You've got more changes to make in the main deck as well. If you're like, oh, everyone's constantly running into Frosts, so then you're going to build the deck around Frost as well. It really is just adapting to the environment and working it to your favour. I still think the deck is very, very powerful, really, really fun, and I can't wait to keep playing with this, keep testing it around, chopping and changing it. Like I said, one format the Bestials are in, one format they're out. This format, the Illusions, are really, really kind of cool. When we get the new support in Age of Overlord, which is going to come in like October, November time, then of course we're going to be upgrading this again. But in the meantime, we're going to keep bouncing around. I feel that this is my new favourite version of the deck with the Illusions. And if there is any other changes or a different kind of route to take it, then I will be more than happy to update it for you. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them. However, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.